Hello and welcome to Sunday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic on what is Mothering Sunday here in the UK. So if you celebrate Mother's Day today, then yes, well, then you should do that with gusto, of course. I think for some countries it's later in the year. It moves about all over the place, but the fourth Sunday in Lent traditionally is Mothering Sunday here in the UK, and I think in Ireland. I hope that today is a suitably brilliant day for all families and mothers out there. Now, what are we doing Sudoku-wise today? We're doing something unusual, actually. We're going to have a go at a puzzle called Brain Fog, which, of course, is a fog of war puzzle. It's by Scojo, who has been incredibly popular recently with some fabulous puzzles. But the reason this is unusual is it's a cipher puzzle. So you can see that outside the grid we've got letters, and these letters represent different numbers, and we have to basically deduce what the value of all the letters needs to be in order for the puzzle to be solvable. This is a sort of form of Sudoku that we're aware of, but we haven't tended to do too many of on the channel. But this is apparently not too difficult, so it should be a blast, and I'll read you the rules to this one in a moment or two's time. Not much news today. We're streaming on Tuesday. We're returning to Islands of Insight at 10 o'clock UK time. Love to have your company for that. Over on Patreon, we've got our Sudoku Club. Loads of extra content, of course, over there, including patented Sudoku hunts, which happen at the start of every month and lead to a competition that's currently running and runs until the 20th of March. Do check that out, and then I've got some birthdays to do. Let's have a look at my birthday list for today. Whose birthday is it? Daisy. It's your 23rd birthday, and I know this because your girlfriend Hannah wrote to us, and apparently you both watch and do puzzles together most evenings. So I'm delighted to hear that, and Daisy, I hope you have a great birthday today with an enormous slice of chocolate cake. And then we'll go over to Simon, another nerdy Simon, apparently, over there in Colorado, who's turned 25 today. Thank you for your kind email, my friend. You're celebrating by having a Chilean Syrah, which is a wine, obviously red wine. I'm sure that will be good. And you're having a party. Well, dangerous things for nerdy Simon's parties, but Simon, I'm sure your party will go well. Many happy returns. And next we'll go over to St. Paul, Minnesota. Now, I went down a rabbit hole about this, but it's Aiden's 22nd birthday. And I know this because your girlfriend Alice wrote to us, told us that you like fog of war puzzles, so happy birthday. And you're having apple and peanut butter pies. Well, that's acceptable. I mean, that is acceptable. If you're not going to have cake, an apple and peanut butter pie does sound nice. But the reason I went down a rabbit hole is I was trying to work out, I knew I'd heard the lyric about St. Paul in a song, and I've worked out it was God in Chicago by Craig Finn, which is it's an incredible piece of music, very poignant, quite difficult to listen to in a way. But that was all about St. Paul, but I think that might have been St. Paul, Illinois. I'm not sure, and I would welcome judgment, but I know you're in Minnesota. It's not that far away from Chicago. But anyway, do guide me and check out that song. It's good. Anyway, Aiden, happy birthday. Sorry. And next, Jameson. Jameson, you've turned the big 3-0 today. And I know this because your wife, Tori, wrote to us. And I know you've got a new baby daughter, Quinn. And apparently, sometimes if she's crying, cracking the cryptic videos are the solution. So my legendary ability to put people to sleep, doesn't matter whether they're adults or children. But Jameson, happy birthday, my friend. I hope you have a great birthday. Now, let's turn our attention to doing some Sudoku solving, and I will read you the rules to Brain Fog. I almost had Brain Fog. I was trying to read out the title there, by Scojo. And we've got Fog of War today. So we've got normal Sudoku rules apply. So we've got to put the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, every column, and every 3x3 box. Fog of War, so most of the grid is obscured by fog. Placing a correct digit will remove the fog from surrounding cells. So imagine we placed this digit correctly. It would clear all the fog from those cells. Now, what we mustn't do, well, you can do it if you want, but you'll ruin the puzzle. What we mustn't do is just guess, because obviously we could guess and thereby reveal whatever's under the fog just by putting the numbers 1 to 9 in here. That is not the idea of fog of war puzzles. The idea is we're meant to be able to logically deduce the next digit and clear the fog slowly using only logic, the power of our brains, if they're not too fogged up. So then we've got cipher. It says each letter from A to J uniquely represents one of the digits from 0 to 9. A 2-letter clue represents a 2-digit number which does not begin with 0. Right. Hang on, it said A to J. I was just saying I can't see a J. I'm not... Which letters have we actually got here? We've got A, B. B's in this killer Sudoku clue. C is a clue. D is a clue. E is a clue. F is a clue. G, H, I. Okay, so it's only J that we can't see. Now, what are these clues? X sums, apparently. X sum. A clue outside the grid represents the sum of the digits in the first X cells seen from that clue, where X is the first cell seen. So that's all. Whenever I first learned about X sums, I always thought they sounded incredibly complicated, but they're not really. So what that's saying is, imagine this square is a 4. I'm not going to put 4 in here in case it's correct, because if it's correct it will clear the fog, and I won't have earned that deduction. I'll put 4 as a small number in. So if this digit is a 4, what we're saying is that this clue IF, that's some 2-digit number, is summing the first 4 cells of the column. So if this was 5, we'd be summing the first 5. If it was 6, summing the first 6, etc. I mean, it could be lower number. No, it could be a lower. Yeah, it could be definitely could be a lower number. So if it's 3, it's only summing the first 3. So that's how X sums clues work. And then we've got killer Sudoku. So digits in a cage do not repeat, and sum to the total, which is given in the leftmost cell of the highest row of the cage. Okay, that's being very specific there, which implies that we might need to deduce at some point that this is the top left cell of its cage. So in other words, the cage doesn't sort of do that, and it doesn't do that because if this was a cage, then this total should actually be shown in this cell because this is the highest leftmost cell of the cage. So there might be something in the wording of the rules there that we've got to be a bit careful with. Anyway, do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual, but now I get to play. Let's get cracking. Right, let's get cracking. So there's not much I can see here actually, which is a bit disturbing, but the things I'm seeing is I've got 2 E clues. These 2 clues are both E. I've got 2 A clues that are opposite one another, so that's probably where I'll want to start. I'll think about that in a moment. I'm not really seeing anything else. Okay, so let's think about A clues. So these A clues here are both the same number. Now, well, okay, so that number can't be terribly small. So if we think about, yeah, we're probably going to have to literally think about the nature of every possible X cell sum here. So can you put a 1 into the first digit of an X sum clue? Yes. Imagine A was the number 1. Then by putting 1 here, you're saying you're summing the first 1 cells from this direction. And that would be just summing the first cell, which would be a 1. So we can have a 1 clue, but we can't in this row. Because if A was 1, it would also be 1 from this side, and we would put a 1 here. So A is not 1. Now 2 is an impossible clue from an X sum perspective, because if you think about it, either this is 1, in which case the X sum clue needs to be 1, but if you try and put a 2 here, you're summing the first 2 cells, and even if you put a 1 here, you'll get to 3, you'll never get to 2. So we do know A is not 2. And A is not 3 either, because the only way you can make a 3 clue would be with a 2 and a 1. That would require a 2 and a 1 on this side as well. 4, if A was 4, you can't make that work, because 4 is an impossible sum again. It's a bit like 2. The only way of making 4 in 2 sudoku cells, or making 2 sudoku cells that contain different numbers add up to 4, is with a 1-3 pair, and neither of these will be a valid x sums clue, because if this was 1, it's saying add the first 1 cell, and if it's 3, it's saying add 3 cells together to get to 4, which won't work. So let's just work this out. Have we worked? So literally 1, 2, 3 and 4 have all been ruled out. A is not any of those things. Oh, no, A can't be 0. 0 is an impossible x sums clue. Oh. Yeah, no, it is impossible. I was just wondering. No, because this would have to have some strange property. No, this is definitely not a 0 because it's in the Sudoku. So we are adding some digits together. So no, A is not 0. So A is not 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4. Now, could it be 5? No, it can't. Well, it can be 5 on one side, definitely. So if this was 2 and this was 3, we'd be adding the first 2 cells together. That's 5. That's fine. But how would we make the other side work? There's only one way of making 5, and that is with 2, 3. If we try and add 3 digits together, we're going to be adding up to at least 6, aren't we? And 6 is more than 5, knowledge bomb. So that doesn't work. Right, so 6. So if A is 6, now, no, that doesn't work. That is getting more complicated now to prove it doesn't work. But if A is 6, we can never have 4 as a clue for the answer of 6. In fact, we can never have 4. Oh, yeah, okay. Right, I've just spotted something I should have spotted immediately, but I didn't. 4 is an impossible clue for all of these letters. Because imagine I did write a 4 in here. That is saying sum the first 4 cells. Now, even if I minimized those 4 cells, they would add up to 10, wouldn't they? But A, H, all of these clues, all of these single-digit x sums clues are just a digit. They're not a 2-digit number. That one's a 2-digit number, but these ones aren't. So actually we can immediately write 1s, 2s and 3s into all of these clues, which I hadn't appreciated. So, right, and we know A is not 1, because we can't put 1 on both sides of the grid. So in fact, these are a 2-3 pair. Oh, and let me show you why 6 doesn't work. So if A was 6, the 2 clue would be a 2-4 pair, like this. But the 3 clue would have to be a 3-1-2 pair, or 3-1-2 triple, and that there's going to be 2 2s in the row. So that's not right. And A is not 7 either, because how would the 3 clue work for a 7, a sum of 7? The only way of making 3 different Sudoku digits add to 7 is with 1, 2 and 4. None of the digits 1, 2 and 4 are the same as the digit 3, so we can't have a 3 clue starting a 7 x sums clue. So we're right down now to 8s and 9s. Now we can probably rule out 8 as well. Let's think about 8. So if A is 8, the 2 would go with a 6. And the 3 couldn't be 3. The 3 would have to be 3, 1, 4. Oh, bobbins, does that work? So let's just do that longhand. So if this was the 2 side, that would go with 6. The 3 side, could that do something like that? I haven't repeated a digit there. Okay, that's not great, is it? So 8 works, and I think that'll mean 9 works, but I'm going to check. So 9, the 2 would go with a 7, and the 3 couldn't be 3, 2, 4, so it would be 3, 1, 5 on the other side, and that doesn't repeat a digit. Okay, so there is only one way of it working for 8 and 9, but there is one way of it working. So A is either 8 or 9, and that's deeply depressing because I don't see at first blush how that's ever going to work. Ah, no. Right, okay, but I've seen something else now. Okay, so the first digit is these two, isn't it? And the reason I can see that those two, I can get those two, is that if we look up here, one of these digits is a 1. Now we know that a 1 in an x sums position must have an x sums clue of 1. So either E or H is 1. But look over this side. One of G and E has to be 1 as well. And the only one that can definitely, if we make G 1, that would imply H was 1 as well. But all of the letters clue to an individual, a uniquely represented digit. So I think the first thing we're meant to do is just, yeah, there we go. We can write 1 into those squares, clear loads of fog. We can get rid of 1s in these squares. Now, what have we revealed here? We've revealed A is a clue total. And we know A is 8 or 9. We know C isn't 1, don't we? Because we've just worked out E is 1. So C can't be a 1 x sums clue. Oh, there's something else going on here. Right. This is gorgeous. Right, this is actually quite subtle, but it's gorgeous. Is it right? Hang on a sec. Yes, no, it's definitely right. Yeah, okay. One of these clues, either the G clue or the H clue, has got a 3 at the start of it because of sudoku in this row. There's a 2-3 pair in row 8. So whichever one of these is a 2 is going to lead to a 3 appearing in one of these two squares. But how on earth does that work? Imagine this was a 3. We're summing these 3 squares up without being allowed to include a 1 in the sum. If this was a 3, we're summing these 3 without being allowed to include 1 in the sum. And the minimum that you can make 3 digits add up to in Sudoku, if one of those digits is not a 1, is 2, 3, 4, which add up to 9. So either G or H is a 9 clue, and that means A is not a 9 clue. So A is an 8 clue. And that means one of those digits is a 6. And on the other side, the 3 is going to go with a 1 or a 4, and one of these digits is a 1 or a 4. Right, so that means that's an 8 clue. So yeah, that's beautiful. Although, hang on, can I actually do anything with that? Well, I know something about this cage. You can see this cage goes 2 cells. Now, and we know that the number in the top left corner of this cage is an 8, because A we've worked out is 8, because G or H is 9. But this cannot be a 3-cell cage now, because 3 different digits in Sudoku that add up to 8 must include a 1. And how could I draw this cage in with this 1 here so that you could have a 1 in it? By Sudoku, it's not possible. This 1 is seeing every possible 3rd cell. I mean, it couldn't be this cell because it wouldn't matter even if it could be, but that can't be the final cell of this A cage because this would have to contain the clue A. So this is a 2-digit cell that adds up to 8. So it's 2, 6 or 3, 5. That was the disappointing thing. I could see where that was going. I could see I wasn't actually going to get a digit from that. So there's now a floating. Oh, that's it. Oh, this is very clever, actually. This is very clever. Right. So I now know this is not 3. Because if this was a 3 clue, we're adding these 3 digits together. So to make this clue work, it would have to be a 9, and this would have to be 2, 3, 4, and you couldn't fill the A cage because 2 and 3 couldn't go in it because they'd be there. So this is a 2. No. Oh, well, okay, that does give me a 3 down there. And that's going to give me a 2 here. We know A is 8, so that's a 6. So we are getting some joy from this. That's a 3. So these two squares have to be 2 and 4. So we now know H is 9. So let's just take an audit of this. We know E is 1. H is 9. A is 8. Okay, this is now a 3, 5 pair because it doesn't include a 2. We've got a single cell cage adding up to J, so J is not 0. This, okay, yeah, and these 3 digits are meant to add up to A as well, so that's got to be a 1, 4 pair. 2. I don't see how this C clue can be 3 digits large now. I might be wrong about that, but so we don't know anything about C at this point, except we know things it can't be. So C can't be 8 or 9. So I'm just thinking, if this is a 3-digit clue, this digit is not 1, 2, 3 or 4, so it's at least 5. So 3 plus 5 plus 1 it would have to be, but that would make C equal to 9, and we know H is equal to 9. So I think this is a 2. Oh. which it is, but it hasn't actually told us anything. Wow, okay. So what's this clue? Is this where I'm meant to look now? G. So G, we're adding 2 digits together to get to G. And this digit here is either a 4, which would make G 6, or a 6, which would make... No, G is not 8, because A is 8. It's quite complicated to keep track of this. Yeah, so maybe this is a 4. Is that the point? I don't think it can be anything else, because once it's bigger than 4, we're into the realms of 8s and 9s, which G is not allowed to be because they've been hypothecated to A and H. So I think that might be a 4. Oh, didn't do very much. It does do this down here, look. Oh, we've got a new cage. We've got some pencil marking Sudoku stuff we can do. I mean, it is outrageous when I'm made to do Sudoku in these Sudoku puzzles. Let's just see if we can do anything else. We've got a lot. We've got all the low digits here. These squares have to be high digits, don't they? Because we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sort of quintuple along row 2. And we've got an EC cage, an Eric Clapton cage. I've been reading about Patty Boyd selling her love letters. Those of you who have never looked into it, we talked about God in Chicago earlier. You might, if you're interested in music, you might like to check out the love triangle between George Harrison, Patty Boyd, and Eric Clapton in the 60s and 70s. That spawned possibly my favourite album of all time, Layla and Other Assorted Love Songs. Incredible, incredible stuff. Anyway, I've totally lost my train of thought. What's this? EC. E is a 1, isn't it? So we've got a... and C. Do we know what C is now? We can probably get C. What's this digit? Let's think about that. C is going to be at least a 5 here. So C could be... C is 7, isn't it? I think. I'm just trying to think what this digit can be. Given it can't be 1, 2, 3 or 4, it's at least 5. But if it was, well, it can't be 6. But if it was 7, C would be 9, and we know that something over there, H, was 9. So I think this has to be 5. I'm sort of saying that with trepidation. That does turn out to be correct, right? So these digits are 7, 8, and 9, and the EC cage is not Eric Clapton. It is a 17 cage. And what does that mean? A 17 cage has to have a 1 in it, a 5-digit 17 cage. I say that glibly, but that must be true. I'm pretty sure if it didn't have a 1 in it, these squares would add up to about 20. But what's that? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is 20, yes. So there is definitely a 1 in this cage, and that 1 has to go there. 2, 5, 6. Oh, it's just minimum. Sorry, it's just minimum. These digits here, the minimum they can be is 2, 5, and 6. And when I just did that in my head, yeah, I do. I still get 17. These add up to 17 now, so that's the only way that can work. Okay, and that's not a 2. So these squares are 7, 8, 9 by Sudoku. 1 is in one of those two cells. We've got a C cage that's emerged from the fog. Okay, so that adds up to 7 and doesn't involve a 1 in either position. So it's not 1, 6. So it's either 2, 5, which I can't see any restriction on that, or 3, 4, where I can see a small restriction, because this can't be a 4. Okay. So where do we look now? 6 has to be in one of these squares by Sudoku, look. 5, no, 5 is in one of those 3 squares. J, do we have any clue about the value? Oh, we must be able to have some clue about J's value, because we know the value of lots of things. So J can't be 0. It can't be 1. I mean, what actually can it be? Maybe that's the best way to look at it. 3, 4, maybe. 7, 8, 9. But we know it's not 7, 8, or 9, because C is 7. A was 8, and H was 9. So 3 or 4 now. Have we had 3 or 4 in any of these X sums clues? Oh no, there isn't. I was about to say I've got some sort of triple here, but I haven't. We found there was a 6 clue. We found that. So we've had 6, 7, 8, and 9. We've had 1. I feel like we've had more clues than this, and I'm just forgetting. What's B? It's a 3-cell sum, and B is not 1 because E is 1. So B is 2. That's just given. B is 2 because this can't add up to 30-something. So this adds up to 20-something with D, which we don't know anything about D. But D can't be that big, because the maximum cells, the maximum sum of such a cage, a 3-cell cage, is 7, 8, 9, which is 24. So, right, so the sum of this cage is either 20 exactly if D is 0, or it's not 21 because E is 1, it's not 22 because it's not BB, it's not a BB cage, 23 or 24 might be possible. In fact, they almost look like they are possible. If this was 7, 8, 9, that would give us a 6 here, which would clear all the fog from box 2. Okay, I think there's a 9 in this cage, and that's because if there was no 9 in this cage, then we know that 23 and 24 would be off the cards, and we'd be adding up to 20. And the only way of making 3 different digits add up to 20 without using a 9 is 5, 7, 8, and we can't do that. So there is a 9 in this cage, which means this square is not a 9. I'm getting stuck here, sorry. What's IF? Do we know what anything? Do we know what any of these numbers are? Well, I hasn't appeared at all, has it? I don't think F has either. So these are two totally new numbers that we've not seen hide nor hair of. And I can't be 1 and it can't be 2, so I is at least 3. Which means this digit is quite a big digit, doesn't it? Yes, I think it does. Actually, I think that this that's going to give me a quadruple in this box. What is the value of this digit? Now, given that IF is at least 30 as a clue, you can make 30 in 4 different Sudoku digits, but only if those 4 different Sudoku digits are 6, 7, 8 and 9. So we can't start a 4-cell clue with a 4 here, because these won't add up to enough to get us to at least 30. So this is at least 5, which it's not. So it's now at least 6. So it's 6, 7, 8 or 9. Actually wondering if it could be 45. Is there something preventing this? I'm wondering if this is 9. Have we had 5 as a clue yet? Ah, no, it's not. Okay, it's not 45 because I've got a 9 in here. Right, so it's not 45. It's 6, 7 or 8. But now, oh, that's beautiful. That's really clever. That's really clever. Look at this cage now. This can't add up to 23 or 24. Because if you think about the nature of 23 and 24, each of them use 3 of the high digits in the Sudoku. So if we think of the high digits being 6, 7, 8 and 9, 23 would use 6, 8, 9, 24 would use 7, 8, 9, but 2 of the high digits in the Sudoku have been hypothecated to this domino. So we can't put 3 in here. So the only way this can work is if it adds up to 20. So D is 0. And it's adding up to 20, and we've got 9 in it. So we need 11 more, which are not 5, 6 or 2, 9. So this is either 3, 8, 9 or 4, 7, 9. And that's not 4 or 3, actually. Oh, look, we're so close to doing something clever here. Can we do any better than that? That's the next question. I haven't managed to see how yet. Come on, Simon. So between them, these squares use all the high digits. So these squares are from 1, 3 and 4. One of these is definitely a 1, but I don't think I know which one. No, okay, sorry, still not there, am I? So which clues have I not now used? I still don't quite know what IF is. So IF is, it begins with 30 or 40. Right, but okay. I think, I'm not certain about this, but I think this is not an 8. Yeah, okay, I see how this works now. It's a brilliant idea. To do this in a fog puzzle is so original. Right, so let's think about what would happen if this was an 8. What would that mean in terms of the value of IF? Well, what we'd be required to do is to sum the first 8 cells in this column. And there is a secret that we can use to tell whether or not that's going to work. And the secret is that an entire Sudoku column Something I only tell my very favourite people this, but don't worry, I'm definitely going to tell you. An entire Sudoku column, because of the rules of Sudoku, will contain the digits 1 to 9 once each, and those digits will add up to 45. So, if this was an 8, we'd be adding up just these digits. Sorry if there's a bit of noise in the background. And those digits would therefore add to 45 minus 2, which is 43. So if this was an 8, this I would be 4 and F would be 3 and J would be broken, because J needs to be 3 or 4 according to my pencil marking, which I will trust. So that tells us this is not 8, which means it's now 6 or 7. Now, when I did a quick calculation just in my brain just now, I didn't think it was going to be 7 either, because if it's 7, we're adding up these squares. And we can see now that these blue squares are going to add up to 38. And that would imply F was equal to 8. But we know that, was it A was equal to 8? So that's wrong as well. So I think what we're being told is that this square here is a 6. And it is. Which means that's a 6. Oh, look, we're finding more out about the grid. But also, we can now probably... Well, now we know I is 3, don't we? Because the sum of these blue cells cannot be a 40-something number, because missing from the total are numbers like 5 and 2, which already add up to 7. So even if this was a 0, we'd be on 38. So we know I is 3, which means we know J is 4. There we go. There we go. That's going to do work. So we get 4 here, 2 here. There's a new cage that's emerged, which is a G cage, which is a 6 cage. And it's not a 2-4 cage, because neither this digit can't be 2 or 4. So this is a 1-5 cage. That's not 1. We said there was a 1 in this column, which now must go there. So that's a 1 by Sudoku. We've got another cage here that we can work on in a minute. There is a 4-6 pair, look, by Sudoku. This square is 3, 7, 8 or 9 as well. One of these is a 3. One of these is a 3. Oh, this is, yeah, sorry, this is obvious. There's a 5 in the corner. This is a 1, 3, 5 triple. And we've got 1 and 3 looking at that square. So it's not going to reveal any fog, but it does give us a digit. There's a 1, 3, 5 triple in column 3 now as well. And I appreciate I could look at all these little cages here and probably deduce some things, but I really want to know what F is. Is F the last unknown thing? So we should just be able to know it, shouldn't we? Hang on. Well, let's work this out. So if at the moment we're on 38. So if we were to deduct, yeah, so this is 3. Because if we deduct 7, 8 or 9, what we're saying there is that the value of IF it's making F an impossible value. So let's do it slowly. If this is 7, then we know that 31 is the total, but that would imply F was 1, where E is 1, so that's wrong. So it's definitely not 7. If this was 8, that's implying that F is 0, and we worked out D was 0 earlier on, so that's not right. And if we make this 9, then I has come down to 29, I think. I'm just going to double... Yeah, that is right in terms of the maths. And we know that I can't be 2 because we worked out B was 2. So this is 3. Oh, it didn't clear... Maybe it didn't clear any fog because it wasn't... Yeah, maybe there was no fog close to it. I'm not sure. Okay, but it also, we know this added up to 20, didn't we? So now if there's 3 in it, this has to be an 8-9 pair, which means this is a 7. And that might be useful. Oh, 4 comes out of this square. And what was this? This was a C cage adding up to 7. Right, so this is now a 2-5 cage, look. You'll probably do something with that, but I don't know what. Have we done all the what? No, not nearly. Okay, so we are probably going to have to think about these other cages then. What have we got here? EF. And we worked out... Okay, let's double check. Do we know now what F is? We can work it out, yeah. F is 5, I think. Did we have any other numbers that were meant to be 5? In fact, we can go through now. We can just take stock. Let's do it quickly. D is 0. E is 1. B is 2. What was 3? Maybe we haven't had 3 either. Have we had 3? Don't know. Can't immediately think of what 3 was, which is a bit worrying. Have we had 4? Oh, 3 was I, wasn't it? Because I was 30 something. Yeah, okay, so I is 3. 4 was J. Oh, so this cage is perhaps known as well. That's a 10 cage. Oh, that okay, let's... Oh, that doesn't work. Oh, no. No, J, 14. Sorry, I was reading... I don't know what I was doing there, but this is a 14 cage. I was trying to make it add up to 10 in my mind. I was thinking that's impossible. No, but J is 4. So this is a 14 cage. And it can't use 1, 4, or 5. So it must have a 2 in it. Otherwise it would add up to way... 3, 6, 7 is way more than 14. So it's got a 2 in it. And then it's got to have 2 squares that add up to 12, which are not 4, 8, or 5, 7. So this is 2, 3, 9. Now, can we actually do anything with that, though? Apparently not. That's rotten, isn't it? 6. Oh, the 4 here. That's giving me a digit. I didn't see that. Okay, so that's good. And in this row, we need 6s, 7s, and 8s. That's not 6. Okay, what's ED? Oh, D was 0. Maybe it was this cage I was looking at. But then I did the maths on this cage. I'm not sure what I was looking at. So this adds up to 10. Now, what could it be? It could be probably a lot of things. It can't be 1, 9. It can't be 4, 6, because this could be neither. So it's either 2, 8 or 3, 7. Now, if it's 2, 8, there's a 2 here. And there's an 8 here. And if it's 3, 7, there's a 7 here and a 3 here. So this digit is quite restricted. And, well, and this one, but we don't know as much about high digits, I don't think. And this cage is EF. And oh, F, we got to the bottom. We thought F was 5, didn't we? Oh, I got distracted when I was going through my digits. I think F was 5, which makes sense in terms of 10 being left out of 45 in the column. So this would be a 15 cage. These have to add up to 10. So that's got to be an 8-2 cage. That makes that 3, that's 7. So now this isn't 3. This isn't 7. This is 9 by Sudoku. So that's a 2 now. Ah, look, that's doing things. 2 and 5. That's giving me 1 and 5 here. Ooh, 5 and 3. Okay, so 3 and 1. 1 here by Sudoku. We've done all the 1s. 2s. Let's click 2s. We've done several of the 2s. And get a 2 here. Must be able to get all the 2s, I think. Yeah. Then 3s. Yes. Oh, we're not going to get any 3s in the corner today, though. But we can keep going and get a 3 here. So that must be a 9. So this isn't a 9. 4s. What's going on in this box? 4, 5. This is 5. This is 4. This is 4. This is 6. This is not 9 anymore. This is a 7 or an 8, which must be a 7 because we've got an 8, 9 pair here. So these squares are 3 and 6, which we can do. Okay, that's fine. 4s, we can put a 4 here. I think it feels like the puzzle is yielding now, doesn't it? Oh, although, okay, we can't maybe get the last 5 in. 5, 5. 5's in one of those two. Bother. Okay, that's definitely not 2 though. Ah, no, that does it. Look, 6 is there. So that's 5, that's 6, that's 5, that's 5, and all of those 5s go into the grid. 9 must go in the corner up here with 8. We can get 7 down here. So that's 9, that's 8. That's got to be a 7 by Sudoku. That's 8, that's 6. This is 8, this is 6. This is 8, this is 9. We need 7 and 9. Oh, bother. They're not done, I don't think. We need loads of 7s, 8s and 9s to be done. What about that digit? 7 or 8. 7 or 8 again. Oh, so in this column, look, we've not put 6 in. Let's put that in. That digit can't be 8. And that's only just resolving, look, because this digit now has to be 9. And that's going to give us that digit, which I hope is going to resolve things. Oh no, have we got a deadly pattern? Don't get a deadly pattern. No! Oh, how bizarre. It probably means I've not used a clue. Or I've not done sudoku. Either of those things, very possible. Let's see. Here. That's good. Thank goodness for that. 8, 9, 7. 9, 8. 8, 7, 7, 9. What a beautiful puzzle. Let's click tick. Yes. Yes. 300 people have solved that. 15 days. Good grief, that's... Well, I mean, it's a testament to how popular Scojo is as a constructor, and also, I think, a testament to how good that puzzle is. Because, yeah, the way that the cipher clues interacted was just gorgeous. I mean, I should have spotted that these were a 1, 2, 3 triple earlier. And then I think, yeah, I could have just written E in. If I'd spotted that start, I could have just written E in straight away. But even then, it takes this lovely idea about noting that one of these has to be a 3 adding up to 9 to force the value of A. And then I can't quite... I know that limited what A was doing here. Yeah, and then that limited the value of A here, which in turn gave us the value of G. Yes, yeah, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Let me know in the comments how you got on with this. I enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind. And we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.